Hi, this is Joseph Wei. I am a senior member of IEEE, and Tom and I have been giving this presentation for many years because a lot of people don't get to go to CES show. And CES was a virtual event last year, and this year they have an in-person and also a virtual visit ability. Due to the rising of Omicron and my family situation, so I decided not to attend this year. My looking at some of the stuff that Tom covered, so I know I missed quite a bit. So I'll go over some of the key things that I was able to find online through the CES website on key IoT and wearable devices. And you can also email me at joseph.wei@IEEE.org or connect with me on LinkedIn. So a little bit of disclosure. So I learned that from another previous presenter, board member of the Consumer Technology Society, Bill Orner. So same thing I think applies to Tom. So we all have our own company. So our views are our personal view and does not reflect IEEE, given that it is the IEEE meeting that we're presenting at. And there's a lot of things, and these are just a caption of some of the highlights that we've seen. For me, is what I've been able to find online. So a little bit of stats for people who have not been to the CES show. And when it was in the peak, I think it was as many over 20,000 people. But in the last 3 years, I think the pandemic actually started in March. So after the CES show in 2020. Which had about 170,000 plus people attended and 4,500 exhibitors. And it's a 4-day event. And last year, 2021, everything became virtual. It's still a 4-day event. And this year, I think Tom already shown in his slide that the attendance was much lower. I don't know if it's capped. Because Tom and I also know some people who run the CES show who are also members of the Consumer Technology Societies. So the exhibitors side, I think they intentionally kept not as many and so that they'd be able to space them out. Because in the past, from some of the pictures that if you have attended this presentation before, it's like booth next to booth, and it's just jam-packed. So this year, because of the coronavirus, so they intentionally spaced them out, and then change it to a 3 days format rather than 4 days. Oh, another thing is some people ask me is how do you get a free ticket, because I think they charge $199 regular ticket to attend the exhibit, and I think that's an early registration for like $129 if you register early before January. But in the month of September, I believe, if you once they open up the registration and you apply and qualify, you can actually qualify for a free ticket, exhibit ticket to go attend in person. And the areas are pretty much the same. So you have the main hall, the north, central, and south, and then you have the sands area. And then you have the area over by the Ari Hotel, and the sands area. The area is mainly startups. So in the past, I used to, when Tom and I used to travel, I think I logged about 10 miles a day walking. So that's a lot of walking, and literally with 4,500 booths, it's not enough time to see a lot of things in great detail. But this year I heard from some people who attended that just like Tom said, he was able to not to have to wait to get into these demo for Metaverse, because in the past for some of the demos, you literally have to wait before you can actually get to see the demo and talk to the people in the booth. So this is one picture shared by a friend of mine from the Barron magazine, Barron's. So Eric Savis, actually credited the picture actually from Patrick Fallon. Is this person here is wearing a full mask with helmet, and other people are pretty much following the mask rule. So that's kind of interesting that I'd like to share with you. This slide actually is a little bigger slide. I think that shows the overall trend for the consumer electronics by CTA Foundation that I think is already in Tom's slide. So last year basically is a good year, has high growth, and in 2022 it's expected to have still some growth, but not as high growth as 2021. Part of it, I think, is due to the supply chain. So even I think if the demand is there, the supply chain is still need. I've been different consultants in the supply chain area have been given different estimates. Some said by the middle of this year, some said by the end of this year, the supply chain issue will have been corrected. So I think that's probably part of the reason why the projected slower growth for 2022. So I work with a lot of startups in IoT and wearables. So I just like to share this very positive slide for a lot of people because during the last year, I mean, when people think about all the impact of different businesses, but on the startup investment side, actually has grown quite a bit. If you look at 2021, in that period, 2020, 2021. So I think it's continued forward. The investment climate is still very positive, given a number of very successful IPO. Start with, I guess Tesla a few years ago, and then Uber, and then Twitter, and most recently there's another well, it's not really consumer, but the speaker, the CEO Bill Lee, he's the CEO of a company, a security robot company called Nightscope, that came to speak at the Consumer Technology Society back in 2014, when the company was not well known, but they just went IPO. I think last week, and have done very well. So I'm basically covered two specific areas. One is around wearable devices and one's on IoT devices. Starting with the wearable devices, now the current device, now majority of the market is still dominated by the earbuds, the smart watches, smart glasses, and some health monitoring devices that built into the smart watches. And I think the overall trend, if you look at some of the activity trackers, now it's pretty much dominated by the Fitbit and the other Garmin and other ones. So the area where wearable technologies are continue to get a lot of traction is more around the business side. So since the Google Glass kind of back off from the consumer market, they're still actually investing in Google Glass. Google is still investing in Google Glass, but more for business application. Another big one that you don't hear too much about is Microsoft HoloLens, which is day one start out with business applications. Another one is Epson. They also day one, so that's why you don't see them having exhibited booths showing off their wearable goggles in some of these places. And another thing about is the healthcare market has actually received a lot, especially during the pandemic, especially for a company that has provided remote patient monitoring type of solutions. So going forward, what I see is the wearable technology of wearable devices, I think will have a bigger presence in the healthcare and the medical area rather than just general consumer type of applications. In the first 5-year forecast for the health monitoring devices provided by CTA that put together the CES show, still show a very healthy growth, double-digit growth. So now going to specific devices. So again, with not, so what's interesting thing is that I think Tom and I typically will spend a lot of time walking by the booths, and because all the big company and now Sony, LG, Samsung, they all do press releases. So a lot of people can find their new product announcement through the presses. But when you walk to the smaller booth where they don't have as much of a marketing budget to let people know about the new offering, that's when you pick up some of these really interesting devices. So there's this company called AirVita. They make a wearable air purifier. That was how they started the company. But the most recent one is called E3, the model E3. They combine a basically Bluetooth earbud with a air purifier. So what they produce, what the wearable devices is, they produce 6 million negative ions per 0.6 second cubic meters, because the negative ion will attach to the coronavirus and then drop them to the floor, and that's how they can help remove the virus from the air. And the battery lasts up to 8 hours. And you can find out more information from their website. I don't think their website actually has the E3 model. It's mostly, the website only talks about their current model that is without the Bluetooth earplugs. Another one related to the current pandemic is a mask company, a smart mask company called Razer. So they have this product called Sapphire, and now they came up with the Sapphire Pro. The Pro version basically provide a little bit more functionality, specifically, so they claim they can remove 99% bacteria filtration. The specific things about this particular Pro model is what they realized in the past, a lot of these masks, they muffle the voice. So people cannot hear clearly. So they built in microphones right into the mask with speakers. So down here, that's where the speakers are. And in addition to, they have a replaceable filter for the filtering the air. So it's kind of a razor blade model. So they charge $150 for the mask. But if you buy the mask with a set, I forgot how many filters it comes with, then it's roughly $200, and the filter can be replaced over time. And then one more thing about is that they have an app that allows you to program the color of the ring around the area where they have the filter. So that's kind of interesting. Another one related, not specific to the pandemic, but also is a long time, like a holy grail that people trying to aim for, is continuous blood pressure monitoring. Now, this one actually is not continuous blood pressure monitoring, but it is the one of the smallest one. So what you see here, basically inflatable pouches. So it's just like a blood pressure cuff. Instead of measuring from your arm, it measures from your wrist. And it can go from basically 30 to 260 millimeter Hg, or 40 to 180 beats per minute of pulse measuring. So also has Bluetooth that can connect to your phone, and the memory on the band can store up to 200 measurements. It's a product made by a Korean company. So currently it has Korean FDA certification for using this device. And it costs about $350, and you can actually get more information from this from their homepage. Another one that I think this is new, while the previous model has been announced, but the new model was just announced during the CES show, is a anti-nausea wristband. Which somehow I missed the early version in my previous year's presentation. So it generates a proprietary pulse. So it's a wristband, wearable devices. This is the, I think the classic model. This is the new premier model. So it generates a pulse that stimulates the, they call it the neuromodulation that will go to the nervous system of your brain, and that controls nausea. So they will actually compensate it. So people can, and if you looked at the review, a lot very positive and said that the technology actually works. And this has been approved by the FDA, clear. So it's not a FDA approved product, but it's a clear product. And it has IPX7 for, I guess, environmental protection. So I think it's splash proof and other type of support. You can find more information on this website, and then the different prices for the different model. Another interesting one is a company called Linklet. So they have wearable cameras. Long time ago, I think when Google Glass first came out, and especially with the Epson goggles, one of the application was to be able to allow the person your video conference to see what you are seeing. So this company basically achieved that with this wearable device, where on one side of the band is a 4K resolution camera, and then on the other side they have 5 microphones array to give you a very I guess precise good qualities of audio. And so it's also not very heavy. It weighs 160 grams, and you can find more information on the website. I don't think they listed. I was not able to find any pricing information for this particular product. So going forward, what I see in the wearable space, because metaverse or meta, wherever the term is about, the virtual reality. So I expect to see a lot more newer type of goggles that will support that industry. So in addition to obviously Facebook with the acquisition of the, forgot the name of the startup that has their own goggles for virtual reality. So what's happening in the IoT space? So IoT stands for Internet of Things. So basically, Internet of Things means that everything is connected on the internet, right? So it's been many years that we've been able to connect things. Now the trend is going forward is, okay, the things that are connected are collecting a lot of data. So is what we really want to find out is the intelligence of the data that provides decision making for the people who are using some of these IoT devices. So going forward, there's also another term called industrial IoT, IIoT, but mainly it's not just the thing. It's really the data, the intelligence that provided by the data that collected by these IoT devices. The first one actually is kind of unique because it's tied back into the pandemic, where we do a lot of a lot of people do food delivery, and people are concerned about the physical contact. And here's basically kind of like Amazon locker for delivery of goods, but delivery of food. So this is takes up to 3 square meter space, and then it can be installed very, very quickly, and there's no app to use because they just use a QR code. If you look at this person, basically the person delivering can use a QR code to open the shelf, and the person who ordered food to pick up the food can use the same QR code. So no special app. But the unit is connected through Wi-Fi, cellular, or Ethernet. And the food can be was kept warm and cool by the insulation, so there's no air conditioning for it. And this is the website that you can find more information about how much, if you are interested to become a reseller or food delivery company that you want to incorporate this into. Mainly they go after is apartment buildings, so multi-unit dwelling places where this will be very convenient for the people who order the food. This is another interesting one. It's called iWater Tech. So there are 2 devices that provide is you can do it yourself. This device actually can mount in between your shower head and your plumbing tube. And this other device is mounted right on top of your shower control. So it claims it can reduce the water usage by 15 to 25%. And there's a mobile app basically keep track of how much water you use and how much you save, and the energy you save, how long you've been in the shower. So what this device is mount here, what it has some kind of a sensor to detect whether you are close by the shower or you are just basically stepping a foot behind and just lathering with your shampoo. So and we'll adjust the shower flow based on how close you are, your distance from the actual shower head. So that was the real interesting part. And this is the website where you can find more information about it. Security. So this is another kind of, I consider it's an IoT device. It's a cup holder that puts into your car, and it comes with the key fob and a cable to connect to the ODB port inside the car. What it does is provide a video monitoring inside your car. So In addition to like the Tesla with cameras on the fenders and the doors of the car that can watch and alert the owner that potentially somebody's breaking into the car, this device using passive infrared and also microwave sensor, it will able to tell if somebody stopped peeking into your car, they will sound chirps. But if somebody opened your car without the key fob, then a siren will turn on with 120 dBs. So it's selling for about $199 with a self-monitoring option for $5 a month or $20 a month that they will provide the monitoring for you. And here's the website that you can find out more information about this product. Another cat device for cats lovers. So Tom mentioned about basically another device to help automate the cat litter box. So this one actually is a fully self-contained. So it has a storage where you can put the litter storage up on top. And it has a sensor actually mounted right near the entrance where the cat goes in. And then it has a rake kind of thing that will scoop the poop from the cat out to a bag that the person has to do is to remove the bag when it's full. So I thought that was kind of interesting. It also has Bluetooth and Wi-Fi connectivity. And another thing interesting about this company is you go to the website, they also have a drinking fountain for the cat, and also a wearable band to activity tracker for the cat. So it's a total solution, not just a one product company. So this is the end of my presentation. So for related resources, you can also join the consumer technology. Oh, somebody just asked, sorry. So you can also join the Consumer Technology Linking Group. We have 15,000 members there. I also chair the IEEE Startup Special Interest Group, and this is the link that you can join. We hold monthly webinars on various topics related to entrepreneurship. The CTA Foundation, CTA Association that's put together the CES show. And then specifically, there's a few organizations that are also focusing on is technology for the elderly. So CTA Foundation, which is part of CTA, the mission is to bring technology to the elderly and people with disabilities. AARP, as everybody knows, they also have a innovation lab that they help startup to create solutions for the older adults. And then this a new website that I'm helping the founder to get. It has a lot of articles regarding different technology for aging. Oops. I think that's it. So I guess we all will be taking questions at the end of our presentations.